This video is going to show you how to can ground beef.
The first step is to fill a large stock pot about halfway with water. Bring that to a boil. And while you're waiting for it to boil, you need to get out your canner and your jars. If you don't have new jars, you're going to need to make sure you have new lids ready. In fact, make sure you stock up on lids because this is the only part of the jar that you will have to constantly replace. I've got a tool set that's clean, ready to go. You're going to need a tea kettle to boil some water near the end, and you're going to need a little sauce pot to boil a small amount of water in which you will prepare your lids. So get that stuff out. Once your water is boiling, get your meat out. This is a 9 to 10 pound chub, so I'm going to cut this open and just plop all of it into the water. Once you've got your meat in there, you can add some dehydrated garlic or onions if you want. Just shove it all under the water and put a top on it so you can boil that. While you're waiting for that, go to your sink and give it a quick scrub and fill it with some hot soapy water. Put your jars and your rings and your lids in there to soak while the meat is cooking. It's been going for about 15 minutes, so it is about ready. Let's check it. You just break it up with your spoon. Yeah, it's ready to go. It's brown.
Drain your stock.
Fill your canner a few inches per your manufacturer's directions. I've got a line about here in mine. Then put water in your tea kettle. I fill mine about halfway. Fill in your saucepan shallow, about an inch. Start heating those. Put your canner on the stove and let that get hot. Turn that on as well. The reason I have this Presto brand canner is because it's the only one I could find that has this special lip on the bottom. You can see the heat's not going to touch my flat stove over here. It just goes down over where the burner is. This is only important if you have a flat top stove like I do. So start filling your jars with meat. You're going to want to make sure that you never exceed the rim part of your can, so nothing should go above this bottom lip, and fill each one. So just squash the meat down in each can so that all your meat sits under this ridge, and then take half a teaspoon of salt and add it to the top of each jar. Okay, so you add your boiling water to each jar up to that lower rim. Then take your bubble popper doohickey or a knife and run it around the side of each jar. There are bubbles of air that get trapped in there, so just release those along the edges. Then you take a towel and you run around each rim to remove any fat or food that might be in the way there. It needs to be nice and clean. Make sure you've got no chips or variances in the texture along your rims. And you're going to go over to your lids that are boiling and begin pulling those out with your magnetic doohickey or whatever you want to, tongs or whatever you want to use. And pop those on the top of your jar. Grab a ring and seal it to finger tight and put it in your canner that should be already heated up. Alright, so I've got a lot of steam exhausting out of this thing, so I'm going to turn it down to about halfway and just let that steam for 10 minutes. When 10 minutes is up, put your weight on your canner. Usually you wear gloves. I don't bother because I'm that tough. Make sure you use the right weight for your altitude. Ours is 10 pounds. And you're going to let this go until you start seeing some movement from that weight. So right now you just back off and wait for the weight. Alright, so it is going. At this point, I sometimes adjust the heat down because you just want a gentle rocking. Once you see this, go to your timer and set it for 1 hour and 15 minutes and let that go. Just back off and let it do its thing. Okay, so my timer went off. The hour and 15 minutes is finished, and the only thing I've done is slid my canner off of the burner so that it can cool. So now it's just kind of hissing. The weight is no longer moving, but there's still pressure inside. So you just kind of got to let it sit there for a while before you open it. Do not attempt to open it while it's under pressure. You got to wait till all of that has gone down and then you can open it. Okay, so it's time for the unveiling. Put some gloves on, even if you're lazy like me. Tap that weight. I've given it sufficient time. Now I'm checking it. Nothing's spurting out, so it is depressurized. Now to unlock your top, make sure as you turn it that you're prepared to pull that lid away from you and put it down really fast somewhere because it's very, very hot inside. So the cans are cooked inside. In fact, you can see them still cooking, and they're going to remain so for at least a few hours. What you're going to do to pull them out is use a jar lifter. Just grab one by one and set them out with space in between so they can sufficiently cool. So find a place in your kitchen that you can set these for at least half a day. You're supposed to leave it there for a day. You're going to hear the tops pop as they suck in. That's normal. And just let these sit. Don't touch them. When they're completely done, you're going to see the fat collected up at the top, and you can write on your lid what's inside and your date. Remember, this part is not going to be reused, so write all you want on it because you're going to throw it away once you open this jar. And this is what it looks like. Lastly, let me just show you one quick idea you can do with this canned beef. Inside, I put all the ingredients that I need for chili that I make. Includes some beans, some tomatoes, and some spices, and some canned beef. So this is a easy way to keep hamburger available for last minute meals, for gifts. If someone is in need, you can keep that on the shelf. Everything's ready to go, and you can make a meal in minutes.